From the subreddit Unpopular Opinion. There is literally no such thing as my truth or your truth. Either something is objectively true, to whatever degree, or it's not true at all. There can be different perspectives, but there simply cannot be different truths. Truth is both objective and absolute, so for me to say something is my truth is meaningless, because if I can just make whatever false statement I want to and call it truth just because I've decided that it's true, then it diminishes the meaning of the word and, contrary to popular belief, words do, in fact, have concrete meanings. This is especially true with the word truth, even as much as people dearly love to believe that their own perspective is truth when it's not. It sounds like a fancy but dumb way of saying you have an opinion on something. Oh my god, when I was in college people used to reference some Japanese movie about different perspectives and I would die inside. They would end with, so everyone's version of the truth is the truth to them. And I would say something like, you're describing perspective. It's because the word truth has been hijacked. I understand what people mean when they say my truth and your truth, but they don't mean the word truth as we are generally taught it. They mean something like my experience has shown me X or the way I interpret that is Y. It doesn't mean that we each have two objectively defined, different truths. They really should not use the word truth in those instances. Have fun in Intro to Philosophy. I truly hope this OSNT an unpopular opinion. There is something called perception. What you perceive to be truth and the truth are two different things. However, it has been said that if you lie over and over and over, that lie may become truth in the mind of a nation of millions of people. In fact, this has been the strategy to mass murder across history. So there is also that. What counts as an objective truth? It's the other way around. There's no objective truth, there's your version and my version of the truth. The most powerful side will triumph and their version wouldn't taken seriously. Absolute truth is not be as cut and dry as you claim. The idea that you are sure it in fact is exactly the problem. Perspective is inherently part of the perception of truth, and is inseparable from the human experience, and so it is ridiculous to assume that one could be certain of any objective truth. And #X200B, greater than contrary to popular belief, words do, in fact, have concrete meanings also. This is just blatantly false. Unless you are making an analogy about how all concrete crumbles away into something else eventually. Then I totally agree. It's more related to how perspective can change how we perceive to be truth. Different contexts can create different meanings to a certain event. Truth can be indeterminate, and thus the two perspectives can be conflicting and equally likely to be true. Happens all the time. Everyone's existence and world is pretty much 100% in their own head. So their truth is essentially just that. Take it with a grain of salt. The people that feel the need to subject you to it as well. If I say it's winter, but my Australian friend says it's summer, then what is the truth? Schrödinger would strongly disagree. He would probably wager a cat's life on it. Objective fact, it is 0 degrees centigrade. Subjective truth, it is cold outside. Cold to someone in Florida, very tolerable temperature to an Inuit. See the difference? r/shower thoughts. Although I tend to agree and dislike people making soft truths based on weak knowledge and logic. The real truth is often more complicated than what a single person can comprehend. The other truths are partial truths, and your truth is also a partial truth, for subjective topics. Don't be so arrogant to think you are the only one that has the divine wisdom to see clearly on what actually is the truth. I used to feel this way, but not every question or situation is black and white truth. For example, what is the best way to raise a child? Tough love or empathic love, or somewhere in between? There is no right answer or absolute truth. There are better answers, but not a single objectively better answer. Even stuff like gravity, in some frames of reference gravity doesn't always act the same. So even objective facts/laws aren't always entirely true. It's extremely unsettling for me and I hate it. But it is something I've come to accept as truth. But not always. This is exactly what everyone making TikTok videos and posting 98% of online social media platforms think. As far from unpopular as it can get. Unpopular opinion, sweet treats are good, I enjoy eating them. Sure, but there is a such things as my perspective and your perspective. There is both. There is objective truth, but when you talk about why people do things, the information they perceived absolutely could have been different. You seem to be using the word truth as a synonym with the term empirical measurement. It can be used that way, but it can also be used to talk about things that aren't empirically verifiable by more than one person. Think about emotional experiences like love or camaraderie, character traits like generosity or narcissism, ethical justifications for real-world laws and politics, sensory experiences like seeing in color or enjoying music. Even person has preferences, of course, but the experience of seeing the color red is more than just a wavelength. It cannot be fully described in empirical language. And yet the experiences we have align fully with what we consider reality. They are true. Truth may be objective, but an objective truth can never be observed because everyone is viewing them from a subjective lens, including the literal lens in your eyes. When people talk about my truth, what they are typically expressing is their perspective. The reason why my truth is a term used is that the perspectives expressed are often ones that have either not been widely expressed before or have been actively denied. For example, those of marginalized groups. You're right in that anyone using this term to say that up is down is objectively incorrect. But that's not how the term is generally used in my experience. It's usually a way of adding strength to a report of one's perspective. Like, you can't deny that this has been my experience. I once again implore people to use context clues. My truth is almost always in the context of being honest. Billy Elliot is about a young lad gathering the courage to live his truth, saying Slovakia and France border each other is not your truth. Sounds like someone thinks their opinion is the only correct one. I don't believe humans are capable of perceiving the truth. We only have limited senses, and a lot of reality is happening outside of the range of our ability to sense. You could almost consider our senses to be a dumbed-down UI or dashboard to help us perform basic tasks: fucking, fighting, hunting, running away, detecting threats, etc. Our senses are poorly equipped for just about everything else. Thus, reality is not within our realm of perception, and we truly have no idea what is really going on. TLDR, humans lack the senses to perceive reality as it is, and 99% of what happens is beyond our perception. No truth for you. There are different versions of truth because the perspectives are different and the bias and selectively looking for evidences are different. Truth is subjective. It's no surprise you'd see possessive nouns behind the word. It's an interpretation of an experience. Now, how one uses truth is an entirely different debate altogether. It just means their opinions. Y'all are too literally. Some things are just used as sayings. Spot on. I've been saying it for a while, friend. Take this award. The my truth saying is used for more emotional topics, things that are themselves subjective. In a relationship, someone can feel neglected. That's their truth. Their partner may be working hard to give as much attention as they can. That's their truth. Both things can be true. If someone says it's my truth that vaccines give you 5G or whatever, then yeah, that's bullshit. But for inherently subjective things, an individual's truth makes sense. Just a dumb, flowery way of saying my perspective or your perspective. Oh God. Don't post this in r/philosophy. They'll lose their minds. I think the phrases my truth and your truth are less about something being factual and more about someone living true to themselves, being as authentic as they can and not hiding who they are. Agreed. There is no such thing as my truth or your truth. It's postmodern Oprah-watching couch-sitting pop pseudo-philosophical psychology that has popularized such a fake notion. I mean, there's different interpretations, perspectives and memories. People also have a tendency of remembering things wrong. Even people who are dead sure of something can be wrong, but it's forever ingrained in their mind like that. A person may have a parent who in their mind was abusive and mean to them growing up. But that parent just saw it as tough love. That's their truth. So, although I get where you're coming from semantically. You can't say the earth is flat and that's your truth, but there are certainly situations where it applies. People don't see the world the same way. Scientific truth is fundamental though ever-changing. Personal truths are based on perspectives. You realize that saying truth is true because it's true is a bad structural basis for objectivity, right? There are 3 truths. Yours. Mine. Then when we are together. You are seeking when people are together, and it is how it is perceived. I tend to think that when people come up with their own truths, they're either delusional and believe with their whole heart something with no plausible evidence, or are mistaking their vocabulary and use the word truth instead of perspective or opinion. One man's terrorist is another man's freedom fighter. -100% not my quote, but goddamn, you're fucking dumb. Unpopular opinion, indeed. Your personal truth changes over time because your memory of events changes with time. Truth isn't always fact. Truth is like a light switch. The light is either on or off. No matter how many light switches are connected to the bulb, there's either light or no light. I don't care if your switch is up or down, is there light, yes or no? Truth is the same. I don't care about your truth of staring at the light switch in the on position, is there light coming from the bulb or not?